Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode one of Jordan and Drew, the sports crew. My name is Jordon Lawrenz. I'm a freshman at the UWGB Manitowoc campus. Yes, I do live on campus. I'm an aspiring sports broadcaster. Been doing play-by-play and color commentary on for Broadcasting the past 3 years, where high school football and basketball games. We'll see where that gets me. Hopefully, I'm a big-time broadcaster one day. But speaking of big time, joined here on the podcast by the one and only Drew Skyberg.
Yep. As he said, my name is Drew Skyberg, and I'm a senior at Valders High School. In the fall, I plan to attend the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee to major in finance and to minor in Spanish because, weird flex, but okay.
Very weird. Anyways, our pilot dropped last Monday, and we got a pretty good response from it. We've got some people that they're into this. They really like it, and we like it too. We love to hear it. I dropped there's a UFC 259 recap and the pilot up so far. So if you haven't listened to those, go ahead and do so. The biggest news of the week: we are now on Apple Podcasts. We just discovered that before we were recording.
Let's go.
And if you've got to. It's very specific though. You have to type in the exact title of the name. So Jordan and Drew, and then what is that called? A colon with the two dots?
Yep, it's Jordan and Drew, the sports crew. And you can also, I searched it with just Jordan and Drew and it popped up. I mean, it was a few down, but like.
Okay. Good to know.
We got renewed for another episode. And look, the Apple Podcasts recognized that and they put us on.
That's awesome. Now, when you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe and leave a 5-star review. These things really help out. We did our research. So when you do these two things, it's going to get our name out there more. Put a nice little comment if you want in there as well. Don't say anything stupid. Be nice, because that's how we get out there and that's how we get our name out there. So do those two things. Subscribe, leave that 5-star review. But if you want to just listen on Spotify, go ahead and do so. But just subscribe to us. It's not that hard. Give us that subscription on Apple Podcasts. It's free. There's nothing to worry about. And then it'll come on your feed each and every Monday. And we've got a bunch of fun things planned here. So this is episode one, dropping on Monday. I would say tomorrow or Wednesday. It depends when we record our next bonus episode, because Drew and I are going to be filling out our March Madness bracket. Drew, I'm excited for this. I'm live on the air.
With March, we'll have that, and then we'll also have tomorrow. Not tomorrow. We have a special also guest for one of our episodes as well, which I don't know.
Yeah, so I'm going to Florida coming up here, so we've got a plan in advance. So Sunday, the day before you're hearing this, we most likely recorded our episode 2 already, which is going to come out. It's going to be a special we'll do on this day in history. And then we got a special interview planned. Fingers crossed that it all ends up happening. It should. But if not, then you've still got episode 1 on Monday, and then our March Madness, where we're filling out our bracket on probably Tuesday or Wednesday, one of the two. So you got the little bonus in there as well. We're just trying to give you as much as possible here. And that's basically it for our intro. Any other loose ends or anything, Drew?
No, we got it all. We got to get into today in sports history.
It is a fun segment. We're trying to figure out some better transitions from thing to thing. So, I mean, if you have any ideas, please let us know. But on this day, and the date, March 15th. So on this day, March 15th, 1869, ready for this one? The Cincinnati Red Stockings become the first professional baseball team. The Red Stockings back in 1869.
Wow.
On this day in 1912, Cy Young retires from baseball with 511 wins. Drew, any baseball man knows that's a big name, the Cy Young Award.
Well, of course. And he still holds the record for the most wins. So, I mean, big name. And now he got an award named after him, after all.
Well-deserved 511 wins as he retired back in 1912. On this day in 1962, Wilt Chamberlain is the first player to score 4,000 points in an NBA season. I'm not a huge NBA guy, but 4,000 points in a season seems like quite a bit to me.
That is a lot, and that's probably one of these years where he averaged like 54.
Insane. Terrible. Probably the year where he scored 100 points in a game. On this day in 1988, NFL's St. Louis Cardinals officially moved to Phoenix. So back in the day, they were indeed St. Louis Cardinals. Now they're the Phoenix Cardinals. Good to know there. And our final thing on this day in 1992, the 39th ACC men's basketball tournament. And I put this in here because I thought it was very interesting. Even back in 1992, Duke and North Carolina were two of the top teams. the number one ranked Duke beat North Carolina. North Carolina was the 20 seed, 94-74. So big win for Duke and Drew. That's one of the big rivalries in college basketball.
Yeah, and it still is today, even though both teams really weren't the same they usually are this season. It's still the rivalry, It doesn't get better than that. Duke, North Carolina.
Yeah, those are two huge, huge teams. And like you said, that ACC rivalry, those two always going at it, it seems. So that wraps up our On This Day in History. It is now time. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about this week on our weekly sports talk. I'm much looking forward to it. A lot of tabs open on my computer. Drew's got some stuff up as well. Let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. We're going to start with the NFL. So I was going to say the big news, but this was like the first big set of news for the week. Dak Prescott finally signed with the Cowboys, long-term deal, 4 years, $160 million, $126 million of that is guaranteed money, and he had a $66 million signing bonus. So crazy, crazy money. I saw here, if I still have it on my phone here, Adam Schefter, the highest signing bonuses in NFL history. Aaron Donald had 40 million. Joe Flacco had 40 million. Matt Ryan, 46.5 million. Matthew Stafford, 50 million. Aaron Rodgers, 57.5 million. Russell Wilson, 65 million. And Dak Prescott sits at the top, $66 million signing bonus.
That is nuts. And I know he just came off that gruesome injury. We all know what happened last year, but like the start he had to that season, I think Jerry's world, he had to.
Yeah, that's a lot of money, but as long as he doesn't get hurt, he'll deserve it because, like you said, he was starting off hot last season. I had him on my fantasy team. It's a PPR league. So let's take a look at what stats he had in his first week, 18.64 points. So nothing great. Next week, 39.8 points. That's a big week. Then 32.48 points. And then 41.28 points. And then he had the 13.44, but that was that game against the Giants where he went down, right? Yeah. So that's, not a bad number, even for
incredible start.
He was going to be a potential MVP, dare I say, to go for that. And someone who wasn't going to be MVP last year, Cam Newton. He had a pretty rough year with the Patriots. It was their worst record since like 2000 or something like that, I'm pretty sure, or in the last 20 years.
The Belichick era was their worst season.
Yeah, and Cam Newton, he does re-sign with the team, though, so I found this very interesting. He's getting a $14 million deal for 1 year, so obviously he's not going to be the backup quarterback, making $14 million, just a $2 million signing bonus for Cam. I think $14 million is a little overpaying for Cam Newton.
Especially, with the past year he was horrific. There's some clips of him throwing a football and miss guys left and right, up and down. It was horrible.
It was not good. Cam Newton did not have a good year, but everyone's going to have a down year once in a while. Also, Tom Brady, the former Patriot, he did re-sign with the Buccaneers. I didn't really look into the full details of that contract like I did these ones, but it's Tom Brady. So he re-signed with the team. Hopefully Buccaneers don't go back to back, but they potentially could.
The whole purpose of the signing, they freed up a lot of cap space because they don't want to let people walk. So it's Tom Brady, of course. Nobody likes Tom Brady. I'm sorry, Brady stands. There shouldn't be that many of you guys, but I
know. It's just all the Patriot fans are now the bandwagon Buccaneer guys.
Correct.
The last big thing for the NFL we're going to talk about here, Aaron Jones is now a free agent. Before we get into this, Adrian Amos, he restructured his deal to free up some cap space for the Packers. So that's huge for Amos to be able to do that. But even with that being done, Drew, I don't think we're getting Aaron Jones back next year.
I don't think we will. We had that three-headed monster last year with Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon, and I feel like I don't think it would make sense to sign that guy and pay him a bunch of money just to have still have Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon come in. So I don't know. I don't see the point. We gotta make sure Lindsley is re-signed first. I feel like he should be a priority.
I feel like there's a lot of priorities on the team, and there's not a whole lot of money going around. You got Bakhtiari and Rodgers who eat up a ton of that money. those two huge deals. And now Aaron Jones, it's not like we're going to sign him for a 1 year deal. If you're going to sign him, you're going to want to give him big money long term. And like you said, we've got Jamal Williams, we've got AJ Dillon. Dillon did phenomenal last year. He was our only draft pick to actually play in a game and get any snaps. He did very, very well. 3 running backs, that was a lot. And now Jamal, if he takes over leading, I don't see a problem with that. He can put up some big numbers, and he's a good passing threat as well. I think we're going to be just fine with Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon. It's just a matter of where does Aaron Jones go if he goes anywhere else, because can't really see him sticking with the Packers, and we'll just have to be on the lookout for free agency. Who knows? Maybe we'll sign him. Maybe it'll be like a 2-year, $20 million deal, but it's not going to be.
I think he's going to walk, and I know a lot of us feel the same, and we'll see.
Yeah, you never know. So something we do not have to see about is the ESPN is going to air some NHL games. We're just going to briefly talk about a few things here. ESPN and the NHL announced a 7-year deal on Wednesday. It's going to be the first time the NHL is on ESPN since 2004. So included in this deal, 25 regular season games on ESPN or ABC, early round playoff series, and 1 conference final each year. Along with that, 4 Stanley Cup final series on ABC and more than 1,000 games per season stream on ESPN Plus. And then it says ESPN Plus and Hulu will become home to 75 ESPN produced exclusive telecasts per season. So a lot to process there, but I know you're not a big hockey guy yourself, but NHL back on ESPN. I mean, it's going to please some people. It's going to make some people mad. It was always on NBC, and I kind of liked it on NBC Sports Network and on NBC, but things are going to change up. So we've got NHL on ESPN. And going back to football, I should have mentioned this first, but back to football for a minute. The XFL and CFL are working towards a potential relationship. I thought there was like a merger between the two, but as I did more research, no, things are not quite like that. So the XFL, they were going to return in 2022, but that's actually being put on hold. So sad about that. I thought we were going to get XFL next year, but we're not. It says the league announced on Wednesday, those plans have been put on hold due to conversations with the CFL. So because of everything going on with these two, it says they're going to work together to identify opportunities for the leagues to collaborate, innovate, and grow the game of football. Drew, because of this, I don't think we're getting our XFL back next year.
It doesn't sound like we are either, but hey, if these two could pull off a merger and 2023 we got football, imagine that league. Oh, that'd be incredible. I'm willing to wait for this.
I think so too, because I mean, even at that point, you could have some Canadian football teams playing with the XFL teams. The XFL had what, 8 teams? Was that right? Or was it less?
8 teams sounds right.
I think it was 8, 4 in each conference. We're not positive on that, but say you even have 12 teams, you get 4 Canada teams, or you have 14 teams, something like that. Or they just say, forget football in Canada, which I can't see them doing, because why not have it in both if you can pull it off? And the XFL had good TV deals. They were on ABC, ESPN.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong there. I mean, I really like some XFL. FCF playoffs, by now we know who's in the championship game. We're recording this on Saturday, so tonight the Glacier Boys and Beasts are playing. The Beasts, the 1 seed. Our Glacier Boys are the 4 seed. And then it's the Zappers and Wild Aces going at it. So the winners will play this coming Saturday to crown the FCF champ. They had a poll for what the name of the trophy should be. I don't know if you saw. Did you participate in that poll? Yeah, I'll take a look if it's still up, because there were some fun names in here. I'm pretty sure the People's Championship was winning when I voted.
Oh my goodness.
Name our title game. So here are I'll just read the options. So the Fandemonium Bowl, the Fan Bowl, the People's Championship, Game of All Games, the Spectacle, the Armchair Championship, the FCF Grand Extravaganza Bowl Championship, Game that determines the winningest team, Championship McChampionship, the Fanapionship, the Lottie Bowl, the FCF Title Bowl Game Championship Finals. So those are all the names you have to vote through, because these were fan submitted. So that's the whole FCF thing, is the fans get to control everything. And I'm looking forward to the championship game next week. Boy, did that season fly by.
That did fly by. And I'm not a big fan. I know I've mentioned this, how they're on Twitch and but I mean, it's a good place to start, I think, because it's they don't really have to pay to broadcast it, because you can just broadcast off Twitch, So it's
and they've made a lot of money with people putting it's not stock into teams, but you can, I don't know how it was working, but you put money into teams, and all 4 of those teams were getting quite a substantial amount from the fans. So people are into this. They've got merch. think it's like fcf.io or something where you can go. I think that's their website. That they're calling this season 1.0, and next year they're going to be back and they're going to be looking good. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they'll add any teams. Doesn't seem like it, but they had their 6-week bubble. We know what the championship game is by now. See if the Glacier boys pulled off a big upset over the Beast, but if not, oh well. And then we finished 1-5 on the year, I'm pretty sure. So that's pretty rough for our Glacier boys. Last big thing before we get into our Marquette sports recap. So I saw something going around that Michigan State was going to be renaming their team. So the rumor was Michigan State was now going to be called MSU Spartans, presented by Rocket Mortgage. And everyone was having a fit about this. They were like, what is going on? Pay the players if you're going to call it that. But no, Michigan State sent out a statement, and I'm going to read it. It was right from their Twitter. First sentence: Michigan State is not renaming its men's basketball team. I don't know why, like, that rumor started that they're going to change the name to that. It just seemed like quite a mess. And why would, imagine I'm calling a college basketball game and I'm like, all right, now it's Illinois against the MSU Spartans, presented by Rocket Mortgage. Like, that's just something you say. That's not their team name. So this statement says, while this is a new extension of the partnership for Rocket Mortgage with men's basketball, this is not a first of its kind sponsorship for the Spartans or a new concept in professional or collegiate team partnerships. It is a presenting sponsorship of Michigan State's men's basketball season, which is a common practice in both college and pro sports. This is nothing new for the school or the industry. So they reiterated multiple times in there that this is nothing new and you don't need to worry about anything. It's just a big sponsorship deal. Rocket Mortgage and Michigan State partnering together. So we got that set aside. No need to worry. And now the big thing for our weekly sports recap, Marquette. So they ended up losing to Georgetown, right, in the first game.
Yep.
They had 14 points at halftime, and after that, I turned the game off.
I don't blame you. It was disgraceful for Marquette, and I'm a big Marquette fan, if you do not know, and a lot of our listeners know that as well. And I get very heated when we talk about Marquette because they spend the second most on their program in the country for college basketball, and the results are just not there. And they're going to miss the tournament again this year. They have won 0 tournament games in Steve Wojciechowski's era. So that's 7-8 years already. And they've only made the big dance twice. So it is just very frustrating. And I'm going to go over some stats and I'm going to recap some things going on or looking forward to next year. But first,
go for it.
Yeah. First, I got to mention the whole thing about, I don't know if Jordan, did you know about this, where next year some seniors can come back?
I did hear about it, but I don't know full details.
Yeah, so they're gonna allow certain seniors to opt into next year. So
a 5th season they called it or something like that.
Yeah, the season. It's there's a lot. They still got to work through some of the things, and it's kind of fuzzy with the whole thing because now with scholarships and stuff like that, it's just how many scholarships can teams offer if they're gonna have kids on scholarship for next year who are 5th year instead of freshmen. So there's a lot of things they got to work through. But for Marquette's case, it could benefit if some of the players stayed for another year, such as we have Kobe McEwen, who, I mean, he's very streaky, but he averaged 10.2 points per game this year, and he was coming off it was a pretty good year. And Jamal Cain and Theo John are the other two who, if they came back, they would definitely make an impact with 9.6 and 8 points per game, respectively. So I am looking forward to next year as well with Dawson Garcia, the fantastic freshman, as we know about, 13 points a game. Jordan, do you have anything to add about him?
He's a big man, and he's been doing very well. I did want to say real quick, back on March 2nd, this is for high school now, the Kentucky Senate passed a bill. It got passed 36 votes to 0, allowing high school seniors to stay for another year of school and play sports. So that's at a high school. They were letting seniors play for another year. I knew I heard about it at a high school somewhere. I found the tweet. Blows my mind because, like you said, scholarships, this thing is just getting messy. And for Marquette too, they already spent enough money. What are they going to do? It's just, they were 13 and 14 overall in the year, 8-11 in conference. Like you said, we had Garcia, who did really well for his first year. He's going to be hot moving forward. But other than that, this team just has a lot of problems to work out. Nothing, the results just aren't there.
Yeah, and I think the talent's there. I mean, we mentioned Garcia. We got to mention DJ Carton, of course. He's athletic. He's lanky, but I don't think he's the primary ball handler. He was used as a primary ball handler this year, and we could just tell with turnovers. Look, I'm 3.2 turnovers a game, and that's just coming from one guy. And I don't know. I think changes need to be made with the coaching staff. I think someone needs to be fired. Steve Ski.
Yep, not saying any names, but
Yeah, I hate to throw the shade here, but the results haven't been there when you're spending this much emphasis on program and there's no results. Changes need to be made.
that's as simple as that. Like you can't just go all these years not winning tournament games, not pulling out the big wins. Marquette gets up. They beat Wisconsin earlier in the year on that last second tip in. Remember how crazy we went? For that?
Oh,
I mean, I wasn't at your house for it, but still, that was you go way back off the tip and win over Wisconsin. You think, oh, early in the year things are looking good for this team, and then it just plummeted. Nothing good happened, and like this
no.
whole team, every player just seems to be streaky. Besides Garcia, he was basically the most consistent player all year as a freshman. That's not good. Not good stuff. And a lot of times they just don't go by a game plan either. Like this is not a 3-point shooting team, but there's some games where we relied
threes.
on the three way too much.
I totally agree, and it's so frustrating with how that. I just hope like we mentioned the coaching staff and like because there's players to utilize. We haven't mentioned Justin Lewis yet, who was with the tip-in and like he was a fantastic player as well. He's just this athletic body, and I feel like he will benefit in a new system next year. I hope these guys don't transfer out because they're gonna realize, hey, why am I staying here? Like I can go somewhere else and I can have a better opportunity. That's what the Hauser boys did. And
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, because that would be certainly bad. I mean, look at all these years we had Marcus Howard and we couldn't even get him anywhere. Like we couldn't get a Sweet 16 or something. Like, that dude was insane. But yeah, Marquette, definitely a disappointing season. I paid more attention to UWGB this year than Marquette, but both teams were struggling. So it's not like either way was a good decision. So I guess we're rooting on the Badgers in the tournament for Wisconsin teams left. So go Badgers with that. Anything else before we get to the most fun time of the week?
That's all I got. I'm ready to kick some bun trivia.
All right. Well, you can try here. I've got my wheel pulled up, ready to go. We're down to, so I took the NBA statistics off of the wheel. So we've got Green Bay Packers 2021 season, Drew's Choice, Grab Bag, college mascots, and NFL MVP winners. That's what's on the wheel here today, because if you didn't listen to the pilot, Drew did partake in trivia. He went 3 of 5. So he got 2 things wrong last week. He did not know that Michael Jordan had 2,514 steals in his career, and he didn't know that Dwight Howard had the most dunks in NBA history. He guessed Shaquille O'Neal. That would have been my guess as well. So, but it was Dwight Howard. So we've got that out of the way, and now it's time to spin this wheel, and we're going to figure out what trivia is this week. And it lands on NFL MVP winners.
Okay, here we go.
We were just talking about how you're not the biggest NFL guy, but some of these aren't too difficult, but we're going to see. So if you get the first one wrong, we have problems. I'm just going to say that right out of the gate. Who won the NFL MVP in 2020?
Oh, of course. That would be, are we saying like 2020, 2021?
The most recent season, yes.
Most recent. So we're going to go with the great Aaron Rodgers, the GOAT.
That would be correct. And it's always, the first question, got to be easy, got to get your confidence up, got to be getting some momentum, getting things going. So next question, you're going to have 3 options here. Tom Brady had how long of a layoff in between MVP seasons? So he won the MVP multiple times in his career. I'm just going to say that to start. Was the layoff 5 years, 7 years, or 10 years?
7 years, B.
7 years, and that is incorrect. It was actually 10 years. He won it in 2007 and didn't win it until 2017.
Oh, I thought it was 2014.
That's okay. We're 1 of 2 to start. Now, next question, a little more difficult once again, but put your thinking cap on. You can grab this one. Who was the last running back to win the MVP? So I don't have to know when. I just want to know who was the last running back to win it.
Adrian Peterson.
That is correct. Adrian Peterson won the MVP back in 2012. Yeah. So we're going back quite a bit there. You got that one right, which is good. We like that. Next, what year did Brett Favre win his first MVP? What year?
1993.
Incorrect. It was 1995. So close. Just 2 years off. 1995 was the winner. So that one, we're 2 of 4 so far.
2 of 4,
solid
yikes.
50%. You got to go 3 of 5 again. We're going to see if you can do it once again. The final question. It's not too hard, but who has won the most MVP awards of all time?
Okay, we gotta think this one through here.
If I'll give you a real quick hint, okay? Who has won the most MVP awards of all time? They won 5 MVP awards in their career. Not often do I give hints on trivia.
You do not.
And that's not like it's not like it's the most
I'm gonna
helpful
say,
hint, but
I don't know why I'm struggling today with this NFL MVP. I'm gonna say, of course, it was a quarterback. We gotta get
there
that.
was. I can confirm.
Yeah,
So I mean, now you just got to think of who.
was not Brady. Peyton Manning.
That is correct.
That is
Peyton
correct.
Manning.
Okay, I was gonna
5 MVPs.
I had him like I had him in top of my head. I'm like, it's gotta be Peyton Manning. It's gotta be Peyton Manning. I'm thinking of guys who it could be. And I'm like, it's gotta be him.
And it was. So we're 3 of 5. So last week you were 3 of 5 on NBA statistics. Now 3 of 5. Hopefully one of these times we'll get a 5 out of 5. I mean, it's gonna happen eventually. It's gonna have to happen.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna say who the guest is yet for episode 2, but if our guest comes, it's most likely going to be EWC, boys basketball trivia. So it's a big hint to give away who our guest is potentially going to be for episode 2 again. That most likely, I can't confirm. We can't confirm at this stage whether episode 2 will drop next Monday or not. We are about 90% sure that next Monday we will have episode 2 for you right here for this podcast. Jordan and Drew, the sports crew. Be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Leave that 5-star review. Drew, 3 of 5 on trivia. We did our Marquette recap. We've got our huge March Madness episode coming up. Any other things before we close?
I think that's all we got. We got to get ready, prepare for next week and the possible surprise we have. So,
all right. Well, that basically wraps things up. You can follow me on Twitter, JordanLaw_PXB. That stands for play-by-play. For those of you who are unaware, I got that from the great Brian Anderson. Drew, what about you?
You can follow me on Twitter, DrewSky160.
And that is that. So thank you all for listening to episode 1 of Jordan and Drew, the sports crew, the perfect podcast for you.